And we're live. Go ahead, Natasha.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. We come to you from Sound Living Counseling, where we have today our weekly sessions where it's called Let's Talk About It. And today's session is about burnout, balance, and self-care. We have today Miss April Taylor and Miss Michalle Morris. And I want to ask Miss Michalle if she could just introduce herself a little bit more and just give us some more information about her.
I'm Michalle Morris, a internal medicine nurse practitioner. I have been practicing for 8 years now, and I have been practicing as a solo nurse practitioner in my own company at Scenic City Wellness for a year. Just glad to be on. Thank you all for having me. And that's just a little bit about me.
Okay, internal medicine.
Yes.
So can you describe that a little bit? What exactly does internal medicine entail?
So internal medicine entails the whole body. So I have to
Okay.
know a little bit about everything. I don't specialize in one thing. So I'm the person that you see for preventative care, for maintenance care of chronic conditions and illnesses. And in internal medicine, we also see a lot of mental health patients. So I prescribe mental health medications as well. And I'm an adult internal medicine, so I don't see children. That's usually family practice. So I see 13.
Okay.
When I say children, I see 13 and above, teenagers and above. So throughout the
Okay.
lifespan of 13 and up.
Okay. That's awesome. Thank you for joining us today. And also, of course, we have the owner of Sound Living Counseling Center. We have April Taylor. If you could tell us just a little bit about yourself, Ms. Taylor, that'd be great.
Sure. So I'm April Taylor. I've been doing this. It's going on my 10th year private practice. I work with everyone from children all the way up to adults. I do a lot of family work, a lot of couples work. I want you the interns, I got my whole team here today, or at least most of my team, not everybody, but I want you guys to have the opportunity to introduce yourself as well, because part of what we do at Sound Living is offer an opportunity for people to learn and grow and just learn to work with mental health. So I want to make sure you guys get a chance to kind of say who you are. And been married for 32 years, 3 adult kids, 2 grandkids, passionate about marriage and about mental health. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Okay. Alicia, would you like to tell everybody who you are?
Hi, my name is Alicia Wright. I am coming from Southern Adventist University. I'm doing my master's there in clinical mental health counseling. I am looking forward to working hopefully in the future with Sound Living Counseling Center. So hopefully this won't be the first and the only time you'll be seeing my face on a lot of these chats. That's about it. I'm a student here, and this is not my first semester working with the Counseling Center. It's my second semester working here with them as their intern.
Thank you, ma'am. And then we have Miss Ashley.
Hello, my name is Ashley. I am also a student at Southern Adventist University. I am working on my master's in clinical mental health, and I hope to continue working with Sound Living Counseling Center. This is my first semester interning there.
Awesome.
Southern is my alma mater. I graduated from Southern.
Oh,
I did.
yay. And then we have Mr. Armstrong. Would you like to introduce yourself, Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jay Armstrong. I am a behavioral therapist with Sound Living Counseling. Been working with Ms. April Taylor for maybe 3.5 years. April, you kind of lose track of time. I guess they say
it's about 4.
About 4 years. Oh, wow, 4 years. Wow. Time does fly when you're having fun. But primarily, I see the adolescent males and men that come through the agency. I do some couples counseling as well, marriage, pre-marriage and marriage therapy, but primarily men and adolescent boys. And love what I do, love working for Sound Living. That's about it.
Thank you, sir. And my name is Natasha. I'm also an intern at Sound Living. My first semester being an intern, I actually attend Liberty University online, trying to get a master's in school counseling. So I'm very honored and very gracious that Ms. April has allowed us as interns to work with her, and we are learning a lot. And as you see, it's a lot of wealth and knowledge here. So if you ever want to reach out to Sound Living Counseling, please do. They're here to help if you need help, especially in these times. So let's get started with our burned out and balance and self-care today. We're going to start with you, Miss Michelle. I think you're going to talk about work-life balance. Now, what in the world does that mean? What does that exactly look like?
Well, that's very hard to accomplish. It is not unobtainable, but it's hard to accomplish. And I will be the first to admit that I'm still working on that. So I'm not an expert. I'm here to give advice. Being an entrepreneur and owning your own business bring a lot of challenges in itself. Being a African American woman brings on extra challenges in business as well. I am a mother. I have a blended family, and I also have 2 grandkids. So I understand some of the struggles that the women that I see have. So I'm able to relate. I do, however, have to find time to take care of myself so that I'm able to take care of others. And one of the way that I run my practice is that we lead with compassion. And so that can be me showing compassion for my staff showing compassion for me, as well as our patients. And so, when you have an unbalance in your life, sometimes you bring that negative energy into wherever you go. So that's, if you're coming to see me, it could be a bad day for you. And so that's where the compassion comes in. Work-life balance is hard. So I do try to find time for myself. And, when you get up in the morning, I think the first thing that you need to do, and it works for me, is take time for myself, because your day gets busy as the day goes on. And it's very hard to incorporate time during the day for me. Personally, I'm a provider by nature. I serve by nature. That's just who I am. And so I'm always giving. And so at times I have to find time to give to myself. So in the morning, I take time to read the word, is where I start. It's not one particular place. It's, I just know it's some place that I have to get that in the morning, and be very thankful for waking up that morning. And then you have to have boundaries. You have to set boundaries. So I've started setting boundaries for myself for work. I'm going to work from 6 to 6. If it's not an emergency, then it can wait till tomorrow. So there have to be boundaries that you have to set in order to find that balance. Your yes have to be yeses, and your no have to be no. So if you say and I'm a very big yes person. So again, I'm working on me as well. So, you may want to do something and just may not be able to do it. So, no can mean, no, not right now. And if you can't do it, you need to say no, because then you find yourself in a rut trying to make it happen when initially, you should have said no. In the day and age that we're living, as far as the COVID-19, we're kind of isolated to our house, working home, working home. So try to find things around the house that you love to do. I can't go to a spa, so make your bathroom a spa. Take that time for yourself to do that. Put a do not disturb sign on the bathroom door instead of the bedroom. Just coming up with creative ways to do things different. Life is different, but it still can be a great life. Volunteering, if you love to give to other people, that's a way to balance your life, to get rid of some of that. Volunteer your time. Give. I saw on TV the other day with the guy. Did you all see what the guy gave away the piano to the young man at the pawn shop? He came in and he had a mask on, and he just asked him if he could play the piano. Well, he was self-taught and he played the piano, and the customers love it. Well, he surprised the young gentleman with a $3,000 Steinway piano like the next week.
Nice.
And it was just, it made him feel good, because
Yeah.
a lot of things you can't do because, again, we have to isolate. So finding things that bring you joy, that bring you happiness, helps with work-life balance.
Well, I just want to, before we go any further, I just want to put out there, Facebook people, that if you have any questions, if you're looking at this live workshop, that if you have any questions, please write them, put them in the chat so that we can answer those questions along the way. Okay, so thank you, Ms. Michelle, for answering that. And you said a few things in there. You said compassion, having compassion and setting those boundaries and finding things at home. That you can do that you can enjoy, like turning your bathroom into a spa. So let's start with compassion. I know that you said that y'all give compassion at your business, at your private practice. And what does that look like? Can you give us an example of how y'all show each other compassion?
I think she may be frozen.
Oh, okay.
So you can ask me something and then she'll probably come right back on. So just
Okay. Okay, a little technical difficulty there. Well, let's keep moving. Okay, Miss April, I know that you are the queen of self-care. So we're going to talk to you about self-care and give us some ideas of what you do during this time in COVID, especially not going out, being quarantined. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it's funny that you call me the queen of self-care. One of the things that I caught while I was in my master's program is that if you're going to take care of others, you're going to have to take care of yourself. And so I kind of embraced that, and I just felt like it was something that was very important. I also embraced making my marriage a priority and my family a priority. And so because I do that, then I'm able to do self-care. So I wanted to set that up first. But some of the fun things that I'm doing, I mean, I love her idea about turning your bathroom into a spa. And I don't have like an elaborate bathroom like that, although I want one. But we have spa days with my grandbabies. They're here for the summer and they're looking forward to it. We do it every 2 weeks. So tomorrow is spa day. So we're looking for, we do everything from the manicure to the pedicure to the sugar scrub and the face scrub. So we do the whole thing. And they're like, you know, this spa stuff, it really works. You know, for little girls to realize that it's pretty cool. But we turn on the music, we really turn my room into a spa and make it, you know, the full treatment. And we do it for me because I need it, but we do it for them because, you know, they're here and we don't get to go out and do the manis, pedis, or whatever they'd like to do. So we're doing it at home. Some other things, we're bike riding. They've learned to ride their bikes just recently. Now they got a new bike. So we're going out and we're riding. This is good for me. I love this. Like, I love giving back. I love helping. So the fact that I the fact that I get to do this is awesome. So this is kind of what I do. So this is part of, like we talked about, she talked about giving away this piano. This is my piano. If I can give information to the community, I feel like I'm doing something and I'm making a difference. We're painting. We turned my living room into an art studio. We've got a basement downstairs too. The girls got box sports. We got 2 big boxes and made them a box sport. So one of them slept down there last night. So just doing fun stuff. I mean, I'm all about fun, games, anything. We did a family Zoom last weekend, but just anything I can do to make my life fun, I'm just all about it.
Do you find yourself needing to plan these things in advance, or you just being spontaneous, or how does that go?
So I do both. I am a planner, so we know that we're going to do the spa days every other Friday, so that part's planned. But the other things are pretty. Yesterday we had some extra time, so we hopped on the bikes and rode around the neighborhood just because we could. And my neighbors were like quite surprised to see Miss April on the bike riding around. But hey, I got a bike and I got a neighborhood. Let's make it work. So some things are just spontaneous, some things are planned, and I'm a mixture of both because I'm mostly a planner, but I'll do some spontaneous things in a minute too. So,
okay, sounds good. Now I know, Miss Michelle, we lost you a little earlier, but I kind of want to first ask the other people on the call what they do for self-care, and then we're going to come back to you. Is that okay?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay. Alicia, Miss Alicia, what do you do? You do anything for self-care? Because we're talking about this. This is going to be our majors and stuff, and we need to make sure, as Miss April said, we need to take care of ourselves. So tell me, is there anything that you do for self-care that helps you?
One big thing I've actually started doing for self-care, especially with COVID going on, is I've been looking at different like books. Like when I was younger, I used to love to read books, and that would be my way of like escaping from my world and going on trips. But now I've kind of starting to go back into doing that because, it's kind of hard to go on trips now. So
Yeah.
using books and reading mysteries or, any kind of thing is like my way of getting out and like exploring. So that's one way I'm kind of like having self-care, just setting that time aside, not worrying about anything else, just focusing on me. And also just, taking time to just rest and relax, kind of like I use my Alexa. I'm like, Alexa, put on some classical music or some like waves or ocean sounds. I close my eyes and I lay down and I'm taken to another world or kind of feel
Amazing. Yeah.
inside myself. So that's like those two big ways I actually am trying to do self-care now.
Okay. I think what I found, rest is really important. It is truly really important. And I found that I've gotten more rest, first of all, because I'm actually using my CPAP machine. Just a little inside about me. And I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And I'm actually getting rest and it feels good. I'm actually sleeping longer and not waking up consistently. And I feel better in my body. So that is self-care for me because I was a bit trifling, y'all. Just put it out there. It didn't do what I was supposed to do. So, Miss Ashley, what do you do for self-care?
Well, for me, I really love music. I like sounds, especially when it's quiet. So for me, self care is listening to music when I'm just walking around the house or like cleaning or anything. I love all types of music. And also, I like reading. Since the quarantine happened, I have been just adding more and more books onto my Kindle, finding a little time to read and catch up on reading. Um, I also think another thing that I like to do is color. I have this big coloring book. It's kind of a de-stressor for me. I'm more of an artsy person, so that's some of the things I like to do to de-stress and unwind.
Awesome. Coloring. I may have to take that up. Hopefully I can stay within the lines because then I'll practice. Okay. All right, Mr. J, what do you do for self-care?
Yeah, so I'm hearing a lot and I'm echoing a lot of the strategies that a lot of the other therapists and healthcare workers engage in, which is exercising. I've been getting on my elliptical. I try to make sure that I hit it at least 5 times a week, and I tend to hit it usually at nighttime because it helps me kind of unwind and relax and sleep better. So, and the first thing in the morning, I always try to read a devotional. I try to get my spiritual grounding intact. I also make a habit. We made a habit actually over the past several months of turning off the news. We found that news is a very, it's a stressor.
Yes.
Excuse me. It's a lot of the same negative news, and so from a mental health standpoint, we've just turned the TV off. And when we do need to get our news, we get it from like a Reuters or an NPR or just a news service like a Lister. And we check on Facebook sometimes. We try to stay off Facebook also, but yeah, just making sure that we're eating correctly. My wife is really, really big in cooking healthy. We make sure that we're drinking a lot of water, and I like to sort of tune into nature. I've got a back porch where in the evening or between my sessions, I go back and I'll spend an hour back on my back porch because it overlooks our backyard, which is very heavily forested. So, I listen to the birds, I look at the trees, and there's a breeze that I can feel, and I look over at our garden, and that's just a way for me to sort of connect with nature and the creator. So I just make sure that I'm getting my spiritual grounding. We're making sure that we're eating healthy. We're cutting off a lot of negative stimulation from negative noise from the news, and we're eating healthy. And we're trying to take it as in a holistic approach, and that has been it's been immeasurably beneficial.
Good. That sounds awesome. Especially the elliptical, getting that exercise in. Getting
Yes,
that heart
ma'am.
rate up, especially on the elliptical, because that will get your heart rate up quick.
Well,
And,
as you get up in age, like me, you don't have the knees that you do, and it's very low impact.
Yes, it is. Besides walking,
I
yes.
can't do the treadmill. I'm
Mhm.
not real big on walking, but that elliptical is my thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Thank y'all for sharing. Y'all, and hopefully y'all out there in Facebook world can take some of these suggestions, because we do need that self-care. We have to take care of ourselves, because we're not going to be any good for anybody else if we do not take care of ourselves. Okay. Back to you, Miss Michelle. I was asking you a question before you were disconnected from us, but you talked in your when you talked to us, you talked about compassion that y'all show. You talked about boundaries. You talked about making that bathroom into a spa. Tell us a little bit more about give us an example of how you show compassion to one another. Like, I need so I can understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Let's say, for instance, in primary care, we schedule our patients at least 15 minutes apart. So in the real world, that never happens. But, that's just how our scheduling is formed, and that's how you train, and that's what you're supposed to do. So if I see a patient that comes in here and they come in and see me for high blood pressure, for instance, and so it's a follow-up. It's a patient that I already know, that, who I have an established relationship with. It's going to take me more than 15, if they come in and it's a bad day for them, and I go in there and say, oh, how's your blood pressure? I see your blood pressure was good. Stay on your same medicines, and I'll see you in 3 months. Well, that's not how I practice medicine, because you're more than just your diagnosis. So my compassion for my patients is to give them time, to allow them to talk to me, to be able to tell me what's going on with them. Because I could see a person who's never had hypertension, or the hypertension's been controlled for years, and all of a sudden it's gone away. I'm not going to say, okay, let me just increase your medicine. I'm going to say, what's going on with you? And some things are out of my realm, and that's why I love Sound Living Counseling and the therapists that work there, because I do have a working relationship with them. I'm able to call them on the phone or text them and say, hey, I have a situation I need you to help me with, and be able to get in and talk to somebody about what's going on with them. Because oftentimes, again, those external factors affect us physically. So they manifest in the way that your blood pressure is high. You're not sleeping at night. You having these headaches, and there's nothing physically going on that should be causing it, or cause it to be to that extreme. So my compassion is not just to say, okay, find you somebody. Let me find you somebody. Let me talk to you and help you with what's going on, and you just don't need another pill thrown at you. We do volunteer work in the community as a team. When the COVID testing was going on, I shut my practice down 1 day a week to do COVID testing, and my staff helped me with that.
Wow. Amazing.
So we put ourselves again on the front line, but we need to be out there testing people and let them know that this is real. It's just not a fly-by-night virus that's going away. And we need to be mindful of that. So, and then we have compassion for one another. Because every day is not a good day, especially for me. So, we pray together. We have more in the morning. Sometimes we'll lead prayer, and all of us lead prayer. It's just not one person. So we pray for our patients as well as each other. I see patients that are indigent that don't have insurance. I do understand it's a business, but we always have to remember that God provides. And even through tragedy, there's something good about it. Something good will come of it. And you have to just be courageous and don't be fearful,
Yeah. Wow. Now I need to be coming to you. That's what I need to be doing. I am. I'm really considering it.
We are a family.
That is amazing. I mean, I love it. It spoke to me volumes when you said you are more than just your diagnosis, and that is so true. Especially with COVID, I'm sure, and I might just be assuming this, but I'm sure that you have more people now that have the blood pressure is higher because of all of the stress and the anxiety, you know, with being quarantined and all of this stuff, losing jobs, whatever may be going on during this time. So,
and now you're having the parents that are fearful about their kids returning to school and they don't know what to do, what decisions to make. You know, it's stressing them out. You know, do I take them out? I have to work. You know, I have nobody to teach them at home, you know. So they're overly overwhelmed, you know, with a lot of decisions that they have to make all of a sudden.
Wow. Okay. And you also do the volunteer work. Thank you so much for doing that testing and putting your life on the line for that, because just speaking with someone on yesterday, they think it's an overreaction. This world is overreacting to COVID. So I just found that interesting. You know, with the more and more cases that come out, but they're overreacting. So
I guess it's like school, you know, it depends on what, like Jay said, turn the news off. It just depends on who's telling the story.
Who's telling the story? That's correct.
You have to come, you know, put all of it together.
Yeah. And you're praying before you start the day. This is just awesome. Yeah, I think I'm gonna be getting your numbers, and especially seeing the patients with no insurance. You know, I know that we all are Christian based here, and that Jesus's thing was to serve, not to be served. You know what I'm saying? So I think serving the community is just gonna, like you said, don't worry about that stuff. It's gonna come back. You know, you're sowing good seeds. You will reap good seeds. So don't get me preaching. You know, I'm a bootleg preacher. So just saying. So okay. Now I know you talked about boundaries and everything. You explained that pretty well. Do we have any questions, Alicia, from anybody? Right? Any questions that we need to answer?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay. Miss April, did you want to add anything?
Well, I just love Miss Michelle. I just want to speak to us working together and how we, and it seems like we are very kind of have like minds in terms of how we practice, because we also see people who can't pay. I hear people all the time, well, I don't have insurance, or I can't pay my copay. And we've always taken care of people whether they could or they couldn't. We also take care of people who could buy my center. And so it's kind of like we do the whole gamut, and we don't, you know, we treat everybody the same, and we try to treat them the best we can, regardless of whether they can pay or not. So I love the fact that I didn't know that about your practice, but it's very exciting. We partner very well together. Michelle and I met, I don't know, was it about 3 years ago, Michelle? I think it's been about 3 years.
About 3 years ago. You're right, about 3 years ago.
Okay, and so once we met, we just automatically loved each other, and we've been sending to each other ever since. And with kindred spirits, we both love the Lord first. We both love to help people. And so when I have somebody who's dealing with something, because, you know, medicine and therapy works best. So that's the evidence-based approach. So if we have to do medicine, I'm going to be sending to somebody like Michelle. I have other partners in the community, but I partner with lots of folks, but Michelle is one of those partners. And so I'll send somebody to her because I know I can trust her. I know we can reach out and connect with each other. And I know we're going to have, both of us going to have the best interest of the client in mind. And not everybody that comes to see us is on medication. So we see a lot of people without medication, and that's fine. And I'll keep you off as long as I can. But if we have to have something, then I'm going to refer to somebody like Miss Michelle who can help me manage this. And so it just makes sense, and it helps the clients, and they love you when I send you over there. And then she refers to me as well. So it's just kind of a good relationship. And we need community partners. You know, the Bible talks about the hand and the feet working together. If we, you know, if I can't, I need somebody to do things that I don't do. I don't do medicine. I will never do medicine. Some people are talking about counselors who can prescribe. You will never find this girl prescribing. Why? Because Ms. Morris went to school to be a nurse practitioner. Dr. Sims and those other doctors went to school for that. That's what they do. And they specialize in it. That's not what I do. So I need her to help me because I can't do that part. Anyway, I just wanted to kind of speak to that. So thank you, Miss Michelle, for being there and for being a good partner, and for all the good partners that we have. But thank you particularly for kind of answering the call too when we call you and say, hey, we need you to come talk about it.
I agree.
Yeah, that's amazing. I appreciate y'all ladies for helping out the community and working together in partnership. That's amazing. Does anyone have any questions for Miss Michelle or Miss April? Concerning the practice, self-care. Okay. Well, if you don't, I do
want
have
to
one.
thank Jay too as well. Can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Oh, I want to thank Jay as well. He is an awesome support for your team, April. I have been seeing a lot of men, which I am happy to say that they are finally coming to the doctor. I talked about that before, that's a silent crisis in order to get men to take care of themselves and provide their health. But he is always available for me when I need to refer somebody, and I try to get him right away because it's hard to get men in. So he returns my phone calls. He's very prompt, and I just want to tell him I appreciate him and I thank him so much for working with me as far as that's concerned. It's just like they're a phone call away, and that's the people at Sound Living Counseling. So you have a good team there. You really do.
Well, thank you, Jay. We appreciate you. Good job. I love the shout out. So, and everything I get
Thank
around
you. I
my
appreciate
team.
that. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to ask a question off of what you just said there. You said it's just an ongoing thing that do you find that men don't like to take care of themselves? As a particular men that do it, like certain ethnicities, or what do you
It's
think?
men in general, but
Just men in general.
it's men in general, and it's usually the younger men, because you find yourself when you're young, you think you're healthy, nothing's going to happen to you. You solo dolo, so to speak. So you just ride the wave until something happens. Well, as you age, your body wears out. So by that time, you're wanting to seek a provider who you got 10 things already going on. So when you're young, in your 20s, just like you do with your pediatrician, you need to develop a relationship with a primary care provider. If it's just for your physical once a year, it's free.
Okay.
If you have insurance, it's free. So just come and get your physical and get a baseline of your health, what your health is like. If there are some issues that need to be talked about, then fine. If not, then just come once a year. So when those changes do start happening, you have something to look back on and say, hey, last year it wasn't like this. So we maybe need to watch this a little closer. Or this is something new. If you waited 3 more years, it could have been worse than it is now. So that is a silent crisis, and men suffer with mental health just as well as women. And so, sometimes their pride gets in the way and don't want to talk about it. And with Jay being on the front line, they have somebody that they can identify with, because men sometimes like to see men just like women like to see women. And I think that's very important.
That's very true.
Yes. Did you want to respond to that, Jay?
Oh, no, I was just agreeing with Michelle totally.
Well, I want to put Jay on the spot. Jay, talk about men's mental health since you're on here. Would you share with us a little bit about men's mental health and why it's important for men to take care of themselves, self-care, mental health, any of that? Work-life balance too, because men have those issues as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah, absolutely. I tell a lot of my guys typically in my first meeting with them that, first and foremost, we're human beings. And, the idea behind mental health is that, and it really connects with men when I position it this way. I tell them that, as men, we want to be strong. We want to be, in a position to take care of our families, and first and foremost, we need to be able to take care of ourselves. And when we reach out for help, basically, it's not a sign of weakness. In fact, it's a sign of strength, because what we're trying to do is become better, right? Better individuals, so we can better serve our community and our families. So I just make that commitment, that realization and that acknowledgement And I just encourage men to, to all the guys that come into the practice, to see me that, it's a brave step that they've taken, and it's a smart step, and I'm just really, really encouraging, and as far as mental health issues, man, we suffer from depression, anxiety, anger management. Like I said, we're human beings. And once we get past the stigma, basically, of, this thing about mental health being something to be looked down on, or something to have a stigma attached to it, then we could really do some healing, in ourselves and in our community. So I just really encourage the brothers, man, and just let them know that it's a brave thing that they've done. And I'm going to, hold their hand and walk through this process with them. And, the brothers open up, and, like Michelle said, it's really encouraging when we see more and more of these brothers. And I use the term brothers lightly, because I've got quite a few white Caucasians that I see now, basically, and they're my brothers also, So, when I use that term, I use it loosely, but specifically, as Black men, there has been this stigma, but we're seeing it change, and it's very, very encouraging.
Where do you think that stigma came from?
Wow, that goes back to images of what masculinity is, and what masculinity isn't, and not having a healthy view of what it means to be a man, not having healthy examples, not having leadership communities in our families. And there's a historical backdrop, basically, that plays a huge part in that, but like I said, that's slowly being realigned, and brothers are really beginning to claim, that their sense of self and their sense of masculinity, and it's not hyper masculinity, it's not a toxic masculinity, it's a wellness that I'm seeing, and I'm really, really thankful and being a part of that, basically. So that's kind of my spill on that.
Okay. Wow, I'm sure that's probably a whole episode we could do on mental health and men, and the stigma behind that. That could be another one of the workshops one day.
It could.
And have you lead it, Mr. J. So, okay. Now we've gone from work-life balance, we've gone to self-care, and then we ended up on kind of mental health in men and things like that. I want to kind of go back to the self-care piece a bit. We've heard some examples of self-care, what we can do to help with ourselves and to better ourselves. And but my question is, if we're not doing self-care, how can we just start? How can we just start? Like, how can we make that move to take better care of ourselves? Do we have any advice on that?
So I'll jump in with that, and let me tie in the self-care, work-life balance, and mental health. If we don't take care of ourselves, it causes mental health problems. When we're doing too much, we're overwhelmed, we're not, the number one prescription I give, and I can't give prescriptions, is self-care. Like, I literally tell everybody to take care of themselves. But the reason we do that is so once we get enough sleep, like you mentioned, Natasha, you feel better because you're getting sleep. So the first thing I try to work with is sleep. So I'm tying all that together because it's so important. And then how do we get started? I ask people, how do you bite an elephant? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Just start somewhere. Start small. Just one little thing. If you're not walking, start walking. Just do a little something. If you're buy a bike, like just buying a bike has got me moving, because now I have a bike. I can go run. And I had a bike. I had an old bike, but I wanted a new bike. So having a new bike got me, moving. So, or like cleaning off a space for your art. So do that first step so that you can so just one step, just take one step toward whatever that goal is that you're trying to do. You don't have to figure it all out at one time, just take one step. And I'll let Jay and Michelle and anybody else jump in and give some other tips.
Well, I agree with you, April. I talk to my patients about doing one step at a time. When you write your goals, don't write 10, because 10 looks way bigger than one. And I always tell them start with the thing that's the easiest to accomplish. So if you have a busy schedule and you eat out a lot for convenience, or and you have a bike at home, well, it's probably easy for you to get on your bike and ride than for you to change your diet, right? Because you have to take time to get your diet where it needs to be. So start with something that's the easiest for you to obtain that goal. And then once you master that goal, you move on to the second goal. So I agree with you, just one step at a time, and write your goals down, write down things that you do in your life. Journaling is good because when you go back and read it, you can see some of the things that you're doing that you can alter. But if you're not mindful of what you're doing, you're just doing it. So you have no rhyme or reason to it. So when you're trying to make change, do it slow so it don't become overwhelming and you just stop and do nothing at all.
Okay. And I know, I think what I have decided to do for my self-care is in a few months, when I journey back to Virginia, I want to get a dog.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason being is because right now I have my little cousin here with me until mid-August for her internship, but she'll be leaving. And I want, I love dogs. I grew up with dogs. I just want somebody that, can, little pet that can be here, I can take care of. We can go walking because it'll get that exercise in, I'm taking care of something. And I think that would help me mentally because, dogs are very loyal, they're very faithful, creatures. So I think I'm going to put that on as my self-care. And I'm looking at my little one step right now is just looking at the SPCA in Richmond, Virginia, to see what dogs are available to adopt. So I think that will help me because even in being quarantined and not having anybody else around, it can affect your mental health. I found myself being very anxious, like all the time. You know what I'm saying? Because of not having that connection with other people. So I totally agree with you on that. Anybody else want to add anything?
I have to agree with you, definitely, Natasha, on mentioning the usage of having like a fur animal or a fur companion. Because before I got my dog, like I didn't know how much just being outside like affects your mood and influences it. Like just stepping outside and breathing fresh air, getting some sunlight, it literally can uplift your mood. And sometimes you're like, I don't have the time to just go out and walk or do something. And just having my dog gets me out of the house. Like, I have another being with me, like needs my help or needs me to do this for them. So it gets me up, and it's come to a point where I just look forward to our walks, just doing that. Even with COVID, I still go outside. I'm wearing my mask, but I'm still out there. I have, like what you're saying, you have a companion, you're by yourself, you have someone to talk to. I know that for some people that might sound crazy, you're talking to your dog, but it's nice to sometimes just have something there you can just lean on. Even like your journal, if you don't like writing, some people, I tell them, like, have a video up, just talk it out, you're talking to somebody else. So it's just like, I commend you definitely, and I'm behind you. So like, go ahead, get you a dog. Even if you're not into dogs, go get you a cat, get you a guinea pig. Animals are
Cats are moody.
therapeutic. There's
Cats are moody.
Some cats actually who have it's weird, the personality of a dog. Like I have a friend who has a cat who loves fetching. And that sounds odd, but you never know. But animals, and it's very interesting if you look through it, and studies show that they are so good for your mood. You don't have to get a dog or a cat or something. It could be a bird, but they are very helpful, which is why sometimes you may see someone says, I have an emotional support turkey. Like animals are very good for you, for your mental health. So girl, behind you, go ahead.
Thank you. I plan on. Excited. We're nearing the end of our session. I just anybody else want to throw out anything before we dismiss? Miss Michelle, I truly appreciate you being on here today. Look for my name. Look for my name when I'm be calling you up.
Yes,
Because I like what you bring in. I'm very personable. I like the personableness that you bring in to your practice. And I encourage Facebook world. Look up, look, sound, living up. It's some great things going on out here, y'all, in your community. And if you just look it up or ask a friend or look at Facebook Live and just tell people about it, because there's some good things going on and people that actually really care about you and people that want to, sow into your lives. Is Jay trying to talk? Jay, are you trying to talk? I think you're breaking up a little bit. Okay, maybe not. But I do know we have a session on July 28th, which is a Tuesday. It's going to be a lunch and learn too. And let's talk about it. We're going to talk about good grief, dealing with grief and loss. Now, I'm sure a lot of people have dealt with loss, especially during this season. And not just during the season, just in general. Because we're going to all go that way one day. So please join us. Grateful for y'all to join us on Tuesday, July 28th at 12 o'clock p.m. Facebook Live. We'll be here again talking to y'all. And please still ask questions if you have them, so that Miss April can answer them or Miss Michelle can answer them. We'll get those answers to you if you're looking at this later. Okay? Miss April, do you want to say anything?
I do. You can tell I'm chomping at the bit. So we're going to actually have another special guest next week. It's going to be Deborah Gunn. She's going to come on and help me talk about grief and loss. I hope you guys can join us again. We're also share this post, share it so somebody else can see it. This is a word we're trying to get out for the community. I'm not sure how many people saw us live, but if you didn't see us live and you see it later, just go ahead and share it. And join us next week, like you said, for this conversation, because Sound Living is about getting the word out. We want to help the community. We're doing the best we can. We get a lot of phone calls. I mean, every day we're still getting phone calls. So we're here to serve. So just reach out, let us know. We have a whole team. I did want to give a shout out. Thank you, Jay, for coming and showing up. Thank you, Ashley, Natasha, and Alicia for showing up. But we also have Jory and Jasmine and Michael. So we have another male counselor as well. So we have a full team. Everybody's, they're probably on the ground right now seeing clients. So we're seeing everybody virtually right now as well. So just let us know how we can help. Again, thank you, Miss Michelle, for always partnering with us, always showing up, always helping us. I mean, I think it's a great partnership and I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
Just appreciate everything. And we'll give you the last words to kind of close us out too, if you have anything else you want to say.
I don't have much to say. I just want to thank you all for the invite, for allowing me to be a part of this conversation that is very important, as you said before. Just if you need a primary care provider, internal medicine provider, my name of my practice is Scenic City Wellness. And our office phone number is 643-8000. We have a Facebook page, Twitter page, and an Instagram page. So follow us. Again, like Miss Taylor said, share this. This is information that needs to be out in the community. And Miss Taylor is very consistent in the community as far as giving education and things of that nature. And so this is something that she's continuing to do, not something that she's just starting. So share the information, post it on your Facebook or your Twitter page or however that goes. And people of all ages can gain some knowledge from this conversation today.
Thank you. Miss Natasha, again, you're a great host. I don't know if you knew this was your calling, but I just love how you did last time. So you got called up to host again. So we appreciate you doing that. You did a great job both times. Love your gift. And I love helping people work in their giftedness. So I see the gifts and I just pull them out. So I'm just going, I just like picking on people and say, hey, can you do this? It helps because, now you can host a conversation. Because you've done it a couple times now. So Alicia and Ashley, watch out because you might be getting called on soon. Jay, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all you do with Sound Living. We appreciate everybody. And share, contact us. We're here to serve Sound Living Counseling Center. Our number is 423-682-7203. And Michelle and I are both on Lee Highway. We're about a mile away from each other. So it's easy to partner because we're so close. And just let us know if we can do anything to serve. And that's it.
That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.